Hello, and welcome back to the Typical Historian, Video 2 about the Wild West. Today we'll be taking an in-depth look at the rise of the cowboy myth and why they live in such infamy and fame, even to this day. When you think of a cowboy, you typically think of a gunslinging, drunk guy riding around in a nice leather hat, riding into town and going to saloons and getting into shootouts. However, there has only been one instance of a shootout, and that was the OK Corral shootout by the Wyatt Earp and his vendetta with Doc Holliday against a group of ruffians who had done some bad things. That myth was derived from dime novels that people would fabricate and the Hollywood myth that came much later in the years. My friend will now explain what the actual cowboy was like.
Back in the old days in the Midwest, it wasn't really as exciting as the movies say. Cowboys weren't actually bank robbing, or, on the contrary, they weren't the heroes that you see in the movies. Cowboys were literally what their names suggest. They were men who would go out in the Wild West from ranch to ranch, herding cattle for the owners and for pay. They would survive on beans and bacon and coffee. They would uh, have a horse and a hat, just like you see in the movies. They'd have guns for self-protection. But since ammo was expensive and they had so little money, they never practiced, so they weren't any good with their guns.
Thanks for that description. Now, the reason that so many people have learned about these ruffians is that it was the folklore people came up with. It was more interesting to learn about Wild Bill Hickok and Buffalo Bill and all these famous Western heroes if they weren't just average people that were doing a job. If they were these unimaginable legends and always getting into fights for like the right thing or even doing the wrong thing. It was thrilling to think about that's what people would do. And that's why people continue to fabricate myths and throw onto the legend of the cowboy.